Hi, and welcome to the Perkins Workshop. We're the Perkins Builder Brothers.
And today we're coming at you with 5 time-saving tricks using your regular woodworking tools that we've learned over the years.
As you may know, construction is a very repetitive job. You do the same things over and over, so if you can just save a little time with each task, it adds up to a lot of efficiency in the end. So let's get started.
Our first time-saving trick is going to be using a reciprocating saw to do a plunge cut.
Well, this is a lesser-known tool for plunge cutting, and there's been a lot of blades bent trying to do it, and I'm going to give you a little hint here. You don't aim it straight in. So tell us, why is this a time-saving trick?
Well, otherwise, to do a cutout, say around a vent or something in the floor, or cut out any shape inside of a piece of wood, first you'd have to pilot with a drill and a bit. So you don't have to go get that if you're on a job site and your truck's like a quarter mile down the road.
Okay.
It'll save you a lot of time.
All right, so one tool, one trick.
Before we get into the plunge cut, we're gonna do a couple tricks within the trick. One is that I think it's a better idea to flip the Sawzall blade backwards on the tool like this, and that gives you an option to do a lot shallower angle because the handle's not in the way. You can see how the handle makes you come in steeper like that. And secondly, I would look at your blade. A lot of these new blades have a nice little tooth right at the tip, and I think that is for doing this type of plunge cut. Now, the most important thing when you're starting a plunge cut like this is to make sure that the blade is as level with the work surface as you can get it. Otherwise, if you come in like this, the blade is just gonna be hammering into the surface of the wood instead of cutting, and the saw is gonna kick like a mule and probably destroy your blade and maybe your face as well. So let's demonstrate. I'm gonna get it lined up as level as I can. I'm gonna start sort of slow so that I get a little indentation. And there you have it. Plunge cut, super fast, no drill needed. Jamie said he wants to demonstrate the mule technique.
You don't need to turn the blade backwards. You don't need any of these fancy techniques. You just point it right where you want and pull the trigger.
Wow.
Well, just need a few more minutes. Hey, you did a great job with the Sawzall there.
Oh, I know. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually impressed with that. Well, let's move on to time-saving trick number 2, which involves the circular saw. We're gonna make a 1.5 inch wide rip on any piece of wood without using any marking and without using a rip guide.
And if it wasn't self-explanatory why that saves time, you don't have to go get a table saw or snap a line or mark a line.
It seems like every time I go to use a rip guide in my circular saw, the nut is always missing. Have you noticed that? That's a problem. If you see it, let me know.
Oh, I will.
I still need it.
The reason you can do this easy rip without making marks is that it was designed into almost every circular saw on planet Earth, 1.5 inches offset on one side of the base to the kerf of the blade. And for some reason, it seems like nobody knows it. I don't know why. Let's demonstrate.
Okay. Here's how the technique works. You align the side of the base plate flush with the edge of your piece of wood, being careful to keep your fingers away from the blade, and just start in slow. Let's measure the cutoff and check our result here. Dead on 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. It couldn't be any more 1.5 inches than that is right there.
I'm gonna jump in and do another trick within this trick. If you need a cutoff that's not 1.5 inches and you don't have a rip guide and you don't wanna make a line, what I do a lot of times is I just use my fingers to pinch the base plate of the saw in the location that I would want the rip guide to be, and then run my fingers along the edge of the board, and that can give you an amazingly straight cut. It's not perfection. I wouldn't do it for trim work, but for framing, it works great. So I'm gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna go like 1/2 inch here, pinch the base plate good and tight, and run the saw. And you can see my result is a pretty nice, even, straight 1/2 inch. So that's the thing I've done over the years to save lots of time. That's also a way to get a really good splinter if you're not paying attention. Our next time-saving trick that we use all the time, and I mean all the time, is to use a hammer as a lever using an anchor point with the claw. And in this way, you can pry two boards flush with one another if your framing members are misaligned. And the only other way you could do that is with a giant clamp or with a buddy. Sometimes your buddy sucks.
I'm right here, dude. You can do this trick with a nail or a screw, but I almost always go for the screw because it has more force resistance to pulling out.
Let's demonstrate. We've got mocked up here a really bad situation if you're a framer and this is like a stud and a jack that you're trying to align and one is crowned really badly. So we're going to demonstrate how you can use this anchor point and the hammer to flush them out easy. Drive the screw. Get a drill that works. Just keep trying. There we go. All right, I'm going to stop there. I've got a solid anchor point that will not move. I'm going to hook my claw under that anchor point, and I'm going to simply do what this was meant to do, is try to pull the screw, and it won't. And you can see just like that, we've got these flushed up. You could go ahead and nail them together, keep moving. Got to pull the screw though. Now this may not seem like an amazing trick until the first time you try it and you realize how hard you've been struggling to do something similar for like a long time. This makes flushing stuff out so easy. It's a great trick.
Time-saving tip number 4 involves the tape measure, and I'm going to even say that it saves struggle.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe prevents struggle. All right, sometimes you need to measure something up above you, and you need to mark it, but when you go to get your pencil, this happens, and you do it again, and you can do it all day. Well, the trick is to use the edge of the tape right here that you would normally hook onto to actually just press it against what you're marking and move it, and it will make a mark for you without a pencil.
Let's demonstrate.
For this example, we're gonna say we have an existing mark that we need to measure from that mark to another place here. We're gonna say 2 feet. All right, I'm gonna put my 24 inches right there, and all I'm gonna do is just give it a little bit of press right there. Boom, I have a perfectly good mark right there. This works really well on a painted surface right here because the metal leaves a gray line, but maybe it's just on wood or something. You can press down just a little bit harder and it'll just make an indentation that's very easy to see.
Today's video is brought to you by HOUZZ PRO, and they're an all-in-one business solution for builders, contractors, remodelers, and designers. So if you're looking to cut down time on busy work for your business while still looking more professional, I would really check it out. And today we're going to be looking at their selections tool. With this streamlined tool, you can take the stress out of selections and deliver standout service to your clients. Get started by using the Clipper tool to build your product library from your favorite vendors. And in just a couple clicks, images and details are added and ready to pull into your selections board, right along with your other HOUZZ PRO creations like 3D floor plans, mood boards, and other project files. Once you're ready to share, you can present the client with their room plan so they can choose their options, leave comments, and approve their final choices. This gives you focused feedback tracked in real time instead of all the back and forth through texts and emails. Also, both you and your client can keep an eye on the budget by seeing how each item affects the overall cost. And when you're ready, convert approved items into an estimate or an invoice with one button. Again, this is an amazing tool for letting clients see how different choices will look and how they will affect the budget. Thanks again to HOUZZ PRO for sponsoring our video. They've been a long-time sponsor. We really appreciate that. Make sure to look down in our video description. There's a link and a phone number for you to get started. We have to throw in here one other pretty awesome time-saving trick with a tape measure that not a lot of people know about for some reason, and it helps you to get inside measurements like, say for example, this number here. It's kind of hard to get because you got to bend your tape into the corner and the tape won't bend 90 degrees. So you're kind of guessing on what the number is down to the 16th or the 32nd, and you need that accuracy sometimes. So tape measure brands have a fix for this, and a lot of times it's super hidden. Like on this tape, it's under here. It says that the body of this tape measures 3 1/8 of an inch. And almost all tape measures have that. It's written in all different places. This one says 3 inches. What does that one say?
This one is 2 inches, my Tough Boy tape.
So what that means is that you can bump the back of the tape body into whatever you're measuring to, lock the tape, and then you can just read the number that's just outside the tape body and add whatever this says. So in this one, you would add 3 inches even. So we would have 13 3/4, 16 3/4. So that's a really good time-saving trick if you don't want to mess with bending your tape in the corner. Sometimes you really got to look for that number.
Yep.
Like that seemed like a terrible place to put it.
It is awful. I think this is a great trick. My advice though is to buy a tape measure that has an even inch number. Like that one is 3 inches. This one is 2 inches. That's pretty easy.
Adding 3 1/8 is not as easy.
Darn bummer. This one here, 2 3/4. It's just not as convenient. So shoot for the even number. That would be my tip.
Now we're to our final time-saving trick for the day. And I think we saved the best for last as far as overall time savings that you could accumulate throughout a whole project using this one trick. And it's using a speed square and not using a speed square, both in the same trick.
I'm a little confused, but
I'll show you.
I thought we were supposed to be helping people with the tips.
Since I made that confusing, let me clarify. The trick here is a way to mark and cut boards faster than the normal way I've seen people doing it for the most part on job sites. And let me demonstrate that at first here. So most of the time you'd hook on the end of a board, you would mark a number, 37 1/2. You'd drop your tape measure, you'd grab your square, you'd draw a line. Then you'd put that stuff down and you would cut through that line, and we'll go ahead and cut through, trying to make it straight. And that's what we got. Pretty decent cut, but not perfect. And I don't know how long that took, but I'm gonna show you a faster way right now. Here's the real trick part of this, is where we make the mark for the board. So we're gonna hook on the edge of the board, and I'm just gonna make a tick mark right here. And I'm not gonna pick up my speed square and draw a line across the board. What I'm gonna do is use the speed square to use as a guide for my saw base. So I'm gonna be able to cut through it way faster, and I don't have to draw a line. First, I'm gonna align the teeth of the saw with my crow's foot or my mark right there. Then I'm gonna slide the speed square in. And now that I have this set up, I don't have to go slow, especially if you have like a corded saw or something really strong, you can just power through it. So let's demonstrate. So that was super fast and it was more accurate. You can see I've got a straighter line. So if you add up that 5 or 10 seconds that you do that day and day and day, you're gonna save a ton of time and actually get more accurate cuts. This is a tip that, especially cutting siding, is a great place to use this tip.
This is such a great time-saving trick because of a few other things. Sometimes you're working with pre-painted materials that are a color that your pencil lead doesn't show up, or a dark Sharpie doesn't show up, or something like Trex decking where the material itself is just hard to make a line on, like the vinyl. So,
or the texture of it prevents you from making a nice straight line.
Sure enough. So this is one of the best tips out there. It's at least one of the best tips in here. But, I mean,
Hey, that's it for our 5 time-saving tricks that can help you build anything faster and easier. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to get subscribed, click the notifications bell so you'll get all of our future videos pop up on your phone automatically. Thanks for building with us. Hey, when you get a minute, make sure to head over to perkinsdeals.com. It's all building and construction related items, and they're up to 90% off. We're working with a company called South Main Hardware, and we are liquidating their extra stuff, and we get a cut of it. So there's all kinds of stuff, building and construction related. It's a rolling stock. Once stuff is sold out, it's gone. So make sure to head over there and check it out. Jason's surfing around. What are you buying?
Bungee cords, it looks like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that, like $1 for
some
like
bongos.
Look at that. We got toilet flushers.
Perfect. $3.
$3. That's what I'm saying.
What?
There's all kind of stuff.
Toilet seats.
Yeah, you can get faucets, like cabinet hardware. All right, that one's not building construction.
Dude,
That's a meat claw for doing barbecue.
that's the best thing on here.
That's man related.
Those from Uganda?
Dude, it looks like bear claws. Like,
They're called a meat claw.
yeah,
I
that's
think
how
it's
it
Black Panther. Oh, you have your own site?
Yeah, there you go. Multi-tool, $1.97.
Nice.
Take 10, please.
Can I put on your tab? Is there a way for me to put on your tab?
Sure.